Zay Collins is a really interesting prospect, especially for a team like the Cleveland Browns to look at. When you have a need at linebacker, you see a guy at 6'5", 260 that can run about a 4.8 40, and that's a rare combination of size and speed. And that rare combination of size and speed has generated a ton of hype for him as a Sam linebacker or as a 3-4 outside linebacker. When people see that kind of combination of size, weight, and speed, there is a ton of combinations that jump to their minds about this player. But is this player in Zaven Collins a fit for the Cleveland Browns? Well, let's talk about that. But before I get into Zaven Collins, I want to make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ding that notification bell so you can be notified when I upload. I'm going to have a ton of off-season content. You don't want to miss it. Also, you want to give a shout out to the patreon.com dog check tier members. And as always, I start with Michael Matique, the most dangerous man in Cleveland, DJ, Marino V, Cleveland Cart, Matt H, Greedy Shoulder, Gemini, Liam Freeman, Fight Dirty 74, Yo-Yo, Matt Lloyd, Paul Wilcox, Hundo, Magnifico, Rob Ferron, Kyle Stouffer, Lukey from Munich, Deveroff, J Guy 101, Musty Taco, Joe Bobby, Brad Cabo, Dylon W, James McGinty, Erinda Hall, Rex Kaufman, Chad Gimme, David Maldonado, Andrew Sadeo, Dylan Hill, Josh Bendor, Jalil Salim Jr., Martha Crustnut, Mark M, TJ Showman, Stuart Moore, Bubbo Regretti, Anthony O, Cleveland BCI, Robert Jermaine Jr., Dave Mike May, John Cummings, Andrew Hirsch, Curtis Bear, Batman Rush Sharir, Barack Kumar, John Albert, Beerman 069, Masayua, Buds of Roland, James Nemo, Mac House, Reeve Hurst, Philip Wilcoxon, Marie Vivert, Keith Anderson, Sean Barron, Goggles Bizano, Corporal Nick Lopez, Don Godzillo, Nick Nasty, Ian Williker, Colin 216, Anthony Latham, Christian, Matt Bond, Dave Strong, Michael Stone, Soul Train, Charles Work, Billy, Michael Holdenack, Moose Gentry, Austin Z, Mark Burnett II, Andre Griffin, Otis Wolf, IT Rex, Greg Ehlers, Austin Bolin, Kirkabard, Jesus Serrano, Chris Fawn, Pickdown, Browns Backers, Mark Kahn, Johan Hilf, Kevin Johnson, Max Aldojo, and Water Bear Marketing. Again, guys, thank you so much for that support. It means a lot, whether it's on Twitter, YouTube, Patreon, however you do it. If you just watch me every day, I appreciate it a ton. Now let's talk about Zay Collins and if he is a fit. When I look at Zay Collins, there are some things that can excite you, and there are some things that concern me. And at 6'5", 260, he's kind of an athletic marvel because of how fast he can move, but being an athletic marvel doesn't necessarily make you a great football player, and that's where some of the issues arise with Zay Collins. I like to think of him as the exact inverse of somebody like a Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, where you look at him and he has all the instincts that you want out of a linebacker. He's super, super fast on film. He's super strong on film, and he has great instincts. But when you look at JOK on paper, it doesn't look great, right? Light at linebacker, not super tall, but somebody who you can see as a fit for today's game at the linebacking position because of his versatility. When you look at somebody like Zaven Collins, it's the exact inverse. Somebody who is extremely impressive on paper, but when you look for him to kind of put those physical attributes to work on the football field, it just doesn't show up as consistently as you would want it, and that's a big problem when it comes to Zay Collins. Now, I'm not just going to make these claims without backing them up, so now we're going to jump into the film room to look at the tape when it comes to Zay. All right, so here we are. We're looking at the film for Zaven Collins and some of the things that people like about him, some of the things that people don't like about him, and why he's kind of an interesting prospect, and maybe even for some a polarizing prospect. Now, I'm going to start this off by showing you what people like about Zaven, right? I don't want to just bash the guy because I don't think he's a fit for the Browns, but, you know, I want to show you guys also the good about Zaven. And here is why people like him, right? You watch him, the speed, the size. Look how big he is, right? He's 6'5", 260. He's bigger than everybody else on the field, but he's playing stand-up linebacker. And he has the ability to be able to go east-west and still get this man behind the line of scrimmage, right? That's what people love about him, that rare size-speed combination that he has. This is another example of why they like him. You see how he's fast enough to kind of crash in that hole and then long enough to go either way with the running back and then make the tackle. Again, there's reasons to like Zay Collins. If you're one of the people who like him There's reasons to. Now, there's a lot of things that make me like worried about him. One of the things is like he played in this weird 3-3-5 defense. It looks like flag football defense, but it's a weird defense, and it's weird to project how well he's doing in coverage and what his responsibilities were because of that. Because I just don't have a lot of knowledge about 3-3-5 defenses because this is the first time I've seen one in like major football. So that's one of the things I'm concerned about. But when he's aggressive, he's great. Look at him. Right there, aggressive. Knows where he wants to attack, goes downhill, and he's long enough to go either way. Makes a tackle. That's a safety. When he's aggressive, he's really good. I think his best fit is as a pass rusher. I think that's where he's going to see his best shine, not as like a straight up pass rusher, but as a 3-4 outside linebacker, because he has the bend and speed to be able to kind of get around the corner on guys occasionally. I think he's much better in coverage than he is against the run, which is shocking seeing how big he is. And I think that's why he's a great fit for 3-4 outside linebacker. Like a team like Baltimore, if they can pick him up in the second or third round, I think they would get tremendous value out of that. But now we're going to start talking about the issues with Zaven Collins and why I don't really love his fit for the Cleveland Browns and why your team might not love him as a fit. The main problem with Zaven Collins is his tackling. He's not a great tackler. And for a guy as big as he is, you would wish that that wasn't the case, or you would at least assume that it's not the case. But it certainly is. He's not a great tackler. I'm going to show you some examples. This is a sack that he blew. Again, free run. No reason to miss that tackle, right? There is no reason. I don't care if he did the stutter step. That's a free runner. You're long enough to go either way if you just kind of set yourself up to do it. And you just completely whiff this tackle and you let him throw out of it. Again, free run, unblocked, untouched. That's a sack. That has to be a sack. At 6'5", 270, and you run a 4.8, that has to be a sack. Not good. Another example of him not being a great tackler here. Look, this is another sack, right? Pretty much comes through here untouched. Does a great job hesitating, then blitzing. Got to give him that credit. Comes through untouched. Wrapped them up. Can't get him down. Bad technique. Right? Just, again, biggest guy on the field. He should not be falling off guys like he's a smaller linebacker. And then another one. This is I think the most egregious example of just bad tackling by Zay. Here, great hustle to get down the field, great speed to get down there, and he ankle bites. I don't love the technique there. I don't love the inconsistency when he's tackling. And I think that's going to be a real problem for him in the NFL. Now, look, he's a huge guy. So maybe this is just poor technique or poor coaching. Maybe. But again, he's a huge guy. He should be a better tackler than this. Again, another missed tackle. He's right there, long enough to get in position, not strong enough for whatever reason to get him down. Just falls off of him. And that's one of the things I see a lot with Zay Collins. As big as he is and as physically impressive as he is, that strength doesn't really show up often on tape. Now, there are absolutely points in time where that strength does show up and he looks like the strongest, most physical freak on the field. But a lot of times he just looks like another linebacker out there for as big and as strong as he should be. This is one of those examples, right, where I want you to watch the tight end. So this is Zay Collins. This is the tight end. The tight end's going to pull, block here, and then watch what happens to Zay on here. Tight end pulls, and he just knocks Zay on his butt. Again, watch the tight end. Highlight him again. Tight end. Zay's going to come fill. And Zay gets kind of just pancaked here by a tight end who's smaller than him. That happens. But again, things you just don't want to see that you see too often with Zay Collins is as big as he is, a lot of the times he just doesn't look like the strongest player or as strong as you think he should be at the size that he has, especially. Another issue with him is his instincts. I just don't love his instincts here. You see here, he kind of gets caught up in the mesh. He should probably in this 3-3-6 or 3-3-5. And again, I don't know the 3-3-5 that well, but I know just most of the time in football, when you're in a 3 linebacker alignment, you don't want to be that close to the other linebacker. There's usually some separation. You see this guy kind of covers this third of the field. He should probably be here watching an outside bounce to make sure he could take care of that. And then this guy has the middle. He's a thumper. Instead, he, for whatever reason, bites inside, which opens up an entire lane on the outside. You see how he kind of crashes in there next to that linebacker who's trying to thump inside and fill a hole. When you're that close to the other linebacker, it's usually a bad thing. Look how this linebacker is here waiting for the bounce out. Zay is caught up in here. He probably should be out here waiting for a potential bounce out to kind of hold him out, set your edge. And he's not there, which leads this lane open. It's probably a first down. So again, not great there on the instinct side. Another bad instinct play where he kind of gets shook by this linebacker. I want you to watch Zay. Zay is right here. I'll highlight him for you guys. Zay's right here. Watch the running back. And, the running back does a little shimmy, but I think it shakes him a little bit too much for my liking there. He does the cut. He should know where this run's going just by the look at it. I mean, look at the line. He should know that this run's probably going to be going towards the left side of the field. Instead, he bites on this fake real bad. Look at that. And it leaves it up more open than it should be, right? Like Zay was there to make the play to stop it. And then, he bites real bad. And then, right where that space he vacated, that's where the guy sneaks in to get that first down. So that's a big deal. Another thing here is sometimes Zay uses his length, sometimes he doesn't, which is frustrating, right? He gets kind of hit up by 78 here. You would hope that he would be strong and long enough to kind of just push into the center of 78's pads and kind of extend with one arm with either way to kind of follow 26 and make that play. This is something, if you watch like Montez Sweat on Washington, he does this really well. And again, with a similar profile to Montez Sweat, you would hope that Zay would be able to do this. Instead, he kind of just let 78 take him wherever. And again, I'm not expecting him to change 78's momentum, but, I want him to stick and then use his length to kind of fill one of those lanes instead of just going wherever 78 wants him to go. And this is another weird quirk about Zay Collins that I picked up on. This isn't like necessarily a serious like criticism, but if you watch him a lot, he is like clumsy for as athletic as he is. This is just one example. There's multiple. If you watch like a lot of tape on him, you'll notice he falls more than most linebackers do, especially athletic ones. And it's a little bit concerning because, as a linebacker, you're probably going to be in a lot of piles. You're going to be around a lot of body parts. So you got to kind of be sure. I wonder if he hit a growth spurt late and he's not used to being as big as he is, because a lot of the times it looks like he's unaware of how large he is, right? And I think that's the number one through line with him, right? He plays like he is unaware that he is 6 foot 270. Now, if you get him in a 3-4 with somebody who can help him realize his size and his strength and really get him to use that, I think you have a tremendous player. The problem is for the Browns, I don't think he's a fit as a linebacker in a 4-3, and I don't think he's a 4-3 defensive end either. So I just don't see the fit there with Cleveland. He's a good pass defender. I don't think he's somebody that in a 4-3 you would want to cover tight ends. And I don't think he's somebody who has the long speed to accidentally get matched up on a slot or something like that. Like, I don't think that's going to be his bag. I think he's somebody who you would want in a 3-4, somebody who can hold up well as an outside linebacker in a 3-4 in occasional coverage, and somebody who can also blitz well. I think, if he goes to a team like Baltimore, they can coach him up, develop him. He'll turn into a good player in about 2-3 years. But he's definitely a developmental player. And again, the Browns just aren't in a position to take a developmental linebacker with all the guys they have on the roster. Now that I've given you guys the film, let me go back to the studio and talk to you there. So with Zay Collins, there's some things to like and there's some things not to like, right? His size, strength, and speed can be appealing to some people. I just don't know if it's necessarily the most appealing thing for the Cleveland Browns. They've consistently been moving towards smaller, more athletic linebackers, kind of in the inverse direction of Zay Collins. Yes, he's athletic. Yes, he can use his hands well in the passing lane. But in the things that the Browns kind of need out of a linebacker, or the things that Zay Collins does well, I just don't know if that's a great fit for this team, especially for the Browns' needs, especially for somebody you're going to draft in the first round. That being said, I can see somebody drafting him who has a 3-4. Maybe they have a couple of years to spare. They could put him at pass rusher and kind of develop him in that way, or as just a regular Sam linebacker, and use him in that way. Maybe they get him in the second or third round and they have that time to develop him. I can see him becoming a good player. I just don't think that fits here with Cleveland Browns. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Do you think the Browns should draft Zay Collins? Let me know. Let me know down below. But again, guys, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Have a good night.